right, ladies and gentlemen, let's get down to business. Let's talk with the man that knows the team better than anyone. Time for Thunder Cover, brought to you by Farmers Insurance with NewsOK.com and the Oklahomans, Darnell Mayberry. Darnell, what's up, man?
Not much. What's going on today, guys?
Man, just talking about a nice little Oklahoma City Thunder Memphis Grizzly basketball game last night. I need you to not settle something, but want your opinion because we've talked about it probably ad nauseum on here, and I'm sure people are tired of listening to it. So I'd love to get your take. Obviously, last night, rebounding, turnovers, clearly in the Memphis Grizzlies' favor. 21 turnovers last night led to 29 Memphis Grizzly points, out-rebounded 43-35, 16 of those offensive, 23 second-chance points, while at the same time, Kevin Martin, who we've seen the last two games be outstanding, he was terrible, 2 of 11, just 6 points. If you had to choose one, turnovers and rebounding, Kevin Martin's poor performance, what ultimately was the bigger determining factor in the Oklahoma City Thunder losing that game last night?
That's a tough choice. I mean, they were all terrible. Kevin Martin, turnovers and rebounding. I mean, that's a tough choice. I would say either the turnovers or the rebounding. We've seen the Thunder live without Kevin Martin and win without him. But generally, when they turn it over and don't rebound the ball, they don't have much of a chance.
No, I agree. I mean, they've got to get better in a lot of areas. I guess my whole thing has just been that, Memphis to me is the better team on the inside. I expect them to out-rebound the Thunder. I expect them to get a few more offensive boards and second-chance looks. That's typically the type of basketball they play. I expect that. I mean, what I don't expect is for Kevin Martin, a guy who's going to have to pick up the slack for us offensively now that Russell Westbrook's been down. I don't expect him to go out and go 2 for 11 and shoot, and get 6 points. So I'm just saying that if they're going to have a chance, if they're going to have a chance in this series, he's going to have to perform a lot better than that.
Guys, I think what we're seeing in Kevin Martin is him turning the fool's goal. And that sounds harsh, I know it, but, when he comes out and scores 25 points on 14 shots, it's something that, it's few and far between. If you're banking on that night in and night out, you're not going to get it. And I think that's been proven so far in the first 8 games of these playoffs. Kevin Martin, we've talked about it. He needs to be consistent, and I just don't think he's that type of player on this team.
We talked about the offensive rebounding, Darnell. In Game 1, I thought Oklahoma City did a good job containing Memphis. Held them. They were pretty limited on their offensive rebounding, second-chance points, which was huge for the Oklahoma City Thunder, but not in Game 2. They were all over the boards, especially they had the 3 offensive rebounds in one possession, and the next one down they had 2, really kind of clustered together. It really stuck out to you. I thought that, I don't know, I think it's a combination of effort, those big bodies getting on guys from the Thunder. I don't know how well they handle that physicality down there. I don't exactly know why that was the case. Just seemed like the 50-50 balls, the hustle balls, all night kind of went Memphis' way.
Yeah, and I'm actually writing about this in tomorrow's paper. And I'm sitting here doing a breakdown of it. I've done some research today. What I found is if you categorize the offensive rebounds that the Grizzlies got last night, they got 16. 9 of those 16 you would categorize as hustle plays. I mean, guys is just beating the Thunder to loose balls. Another 6 were a product of not boxing out. The Thunder just not putting a body on guys and really not being fundamentally sound. And then the last one was just a bad break. Serge Ibaka blocked a shot right into the hands of Jared Bayless, and that gave the Grizzlies another possession. But when Scott Brooks talks about there are things that they can clean up, I mean, that's what you're saying. I mean, when you give up 9 offensive rebounds on hustle plays, essentially, and another 6 basically from not boxing out and putting a body on someone, those things are easily correctable, and the Thunder have to get that fixed going into Game 3.
How do you explain though that they're getting out hustled to balls and fundamentally not blocking out? I mean, it can't be laziness. You would think that everyone's got to be on edge, trying to play that much better with Russell Westbrook out.
Especially at home in Chesapeake.
At home in the playoffs, one of our best players is down. I know I've got to step my game up. I mean, to say that you got out hustled for for a ball, especially in the playoffs, especially when you're a paid athlete, is almost inexcusable, isn't it?
I think what we're seeing is, Serge Ibaka is really doing a great job on Zach Randolph, and he's wrestling with him and pulling and grabbing and just fighting with him down low inside. So that's taken away. It's easy to look at the box score and say Serge Ibaka needs to grab more than 5 rebounds. But he's the reason why the Thunder has a chance to get so many of them, because he's really taking Zach Randolph out of the game as a rebounder for the most part. Now, Zach did get some, and some of those were just hustle plays. But 8 rebounds to Zach Randolph is a lot better than 15 or 16, which we've seen him get in the past. So I think Serge Ibaka's doing a great job. Kendrick Perkins is being pulled away from the basket because he's out there guarding Marc Gasol. So that leaves you 3 perimeter players in, Reggie Jackson, Derek Fisher, Kevin Martin, Thabo Sefolosha, Kevin Durant, any mix of those guys, who it's up to them to come in there and really grab those rebounds. And what I've found is, going back and looking at some of the tape, the perimeter players are just standing there watching the shot. So those guys have got to get in there and really hit the glass. And I think, guys, the loss of Russell Westbrook, we're really seeing, we really saw in Game 2. We're seeing it in a number of areas. But Russell was one of those guys that would just go in there and grab rebounds. And Reggie Jackson and Kevin Martin, Thabo, those guys got to step up their games in that area and now help out their bigs.
Yeah, Russell Westbrook's so good rebounding the basketball.
I think he's the best rebounding guard in the NBA.
No doubt about it. More to come. That's Darnell Mayberry of NewsOK.com and the Oklahoman. This is Thunder Cover, brought to you by Farmers Insurance. We're down here in Pauls Valley. Seth Wildey Ford, Oklahoma's Ford Truck King. 13 minutes past the hour. Quick break. We'll be back with more. It's The Rush. Sports Talk Network. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It's a Wednesday, May the 8th. Absolutely beautiful day out there in Oklahoma. 18 minutes past the hour. This is hour number 4. Teddy Lehman to my right, Dusty Dvorak right here. Drake Dykin back in studio. Back to Thunder Cover with NewsOK.com and the Oklahoman's Darnell Mayberry, brought to you by Farmers Insurance. Darnell, Derek Fisher, I got to tell you, unbelievable the way this guy's been playing. I think he's been outstanding. I would have never guessed this in a million years, especially even the way he's playing on the defensive end, the deflected balls, the huge steal he had in Game 1, and just knocking down shots seems like at a regularity. But I don't know what your take is on this, but you mentioned fool's gold earlier with Kevin Martin, and I'm just afraid at some point this is fool's gold you're finding with Derek Fisher. I don't know if he can keep this pace up for an extended series. I know he's done it throughout these playoffs. I just think at some point the 4-leaf clover, the horseshoe that he's found, it's going to run out.
Yeah, I mean, it might have run out last night in the second half. He had 5 points in 15 minutes in the second half after being on fire in that second quarter. And of those 5 points, 3 came at the buzzer, at the final buzzer, on a meaningless three-pointer that was just sort of payback for Tony Allen throwing in a meaningless dunk at the other end. So, Derek Fisher is a guy who's played incredibly well in the playoffs so far. But, again, is that something that's sustainable? I'm not so sure.
Well, what is the most sustainable other offense other than Kevin Durant? Where's it going to come from? If we can't expect it from Kevin Martin, who's been inconsistent, and you can't expect it from Fisher, who we think it may be fool's gold, is it going to come from anyone, or is the Thunder's luck ran out?
Does Scotty Brooks have any other offensive buttons that he can push? Is there anything left?
You guys can tell me why Reggie Jackson's not being allowed to do more. Why doesn't he have the freedom to basically go out there and put pressure on the defense and get to the rim and finish or create plays for others? That's something that I don't understand.
I agree, and I think that's when he's at his best, guys, is whenever he's confident, he's in control, and he takes it right off the dribble, goes right to the rim. I mean, the guy is super athletic. I mean, I don't know. I think at this point, Kevin Durant's going to score, but everything else is just kind of a guess right now as far as scoring. I say you take the reins off and let the guy go.
The guy is the only other player on the roster right now that can create his own shot. And he's being asked to force-feed Kevin Durant. It's just something I don't understand.
Yeah, I noticed that last night. We saw Kevin Durant in multiple roles last night as a wing player, also as a point forward. Dude can do it from pretty much any way, shape, or form. But, no, I agree. I think Reggie Jackson, only 8 shot attempts last night. Got to find a way to get him more involved in this offense. Got to find a way to get him going a little bit more. See exactly, how high his ceiling is. And, what Game 1 and we saw in Game 6, the dude's been playing outstanding. So let him go. Let him go play.
Lately, all we've really seen from him is he's trying to hit perimeter threes. And to me, that's not his game. I think his game is slashing to the rack, man.
Getting to the rack, and even if a double comes on him, you saw he had 7 assists in that second half against Houston in that Game 6. The guy's a playmaker if you give him the ball and you give him the opportunity. Okay, I want to ask you this one. We can all talk about this. Who played worse in Game 2? Was it Kendrick Perkins, 4 points, 4 fouls, 6 rebounds, 3 turnovers in 24 minutes, or Nick Collison? No points, 6 fouls, no rebounds, 4 turnovers, just 1 assist, and 15 minutes. And it also just seems like we're always beating down Perkins, but somehow Nick Collison seems to get a pass. Fellas, who played the worst game?
I say Collison, no question. Collison, he looked beat down. He looked tired out there, was bent over. A couple of really bad turnovers, uncharacteristic of him. I know Kendrick Perkins had the fouls and didn't have a ton of production, but, I mean, that's what he is. He's 4.6 rebounds. That's what he's going to give you.
Yeah, I'm with you. I got to go with Nick Collison. He had 2 early fouls in the first 2 minutes, was forced to come out of the game, and when he got back in there, all he did was turn it over and commit more fouls. So just not a good game for him, and it's shocking because he could have been, coming into this series, we kind of thought he might have been one of the X factors, one of the real key players because of his history of incredible defense on Zach Randolph. But so far it's been Serge Ibaka who's really been able to limit Zach Randolph and keep him in check, and Nick Collison hasn't been as big of a factor as we thought.
Totally agree. You can say what you want to about Kendrick. Nick Collison was not good last night, and people were clamoring in the last series, more Nick Collison, and he's played well up until this point. But last night, no production out of him whatsoever. Just didn't seem like the same guy out there on the court last night for whatever reason. So I got to go Nick Collison. I'm not giving him a pass. He's got to play better than that. Even though he is coming off the bench, he's him and Perk, the 2 most veteran guys. Nick Collison, those are the leaders of this basketball team. He's got to show up in the playoffs against Memphis, and he's got to play better than that. Last night, Darnell, I said this earlier. I heard it. Of the 4 big men that played for Oklahoma City, more fouls than points last night. That's not going to get it done in the playoffs.
No, and what do you guys think about Hasheem Thabeet? He came in, played about 12, 13 minutes. Think he should be playing more?
He looked good last night.
I thought he played good, man. You got to know what he's going to give you. He's going to be okay around the rim a little bit. He can help off and block shots. He's not going to give you much offensively. He's going to sit there on the hash mark and wait for a dish and get a dunk. But without Westbrook in there and the way they've really limited Reggie Jackson, he's not going to get any offensive looks like that. He gets those when guys slash to the basket, but I really can't complain about.
He's got that big body, and he throws it around at least to combat the other big bodies of Memphis. I'll definitely say that for him.
And some of the ways he just goes in and is active on the glass. I mean, you can tell that there's a certain level of athleticism that he has that the other bigs don't really have. He goes and gets some of those rebounds whereas other guys just seem to sit there and watch it and let it come to them or are trying to box out too much. Charles Barkley says, guys that box out don't get rebounds. Guys that go get it actually are the ones that get rebounds. That's one thing I love about Hasheem Thabeet. He goes and gets them.
I've liked him all year, man. I've liked what he's brought to the table, stepping into a role. They haven't asked a lot of him, but he's came up. He's played some pretty good minutes. But that being said, Darnell, you know what? You know it as well as I do. Coach Brooks he likes his rotations, and he pretty much sticks with them.
Yeah, and that's something that's sort of unfortunate, and it's been that way for 5 years now. When you got a guy who's hot or cold, I think you should be able to sub in according to what the game is telling you. If Kevin Martin is 1 of 10, or if he's 2 of 12, whatever he is, try someone else. It's obviously not his night. Let's see a Jeremy Lamb. Let's see if Reggie Jackson can get in there or Derek Fisher can get it going. I think he is a little too rigid with his rotation sometimes, and that's sort of the thing that rubs me the wrong way the most, is that he sticks with guys probably too much sometimes, regardless of how they're playing.
You're listening to Thunder Cover, brought to you by Farmers Insurance with NewsOK.com and the Oklahomans. Darnell Mayberry. Before we move to Saturday's game, Darnell, let's spend a little more time on this series. Last night's game, Serge Ibaka, he did have 11 points last night, but still I'd like to see more from him offensively. Westbrook not being in there, we can call it Westbrook withdrawal. Is Serge suffering from that offensively? Because, he just doesn't seem like quite the same. I know he's not an unbelievable offensive player, but on given nights we see him really explode and really have big nights. Haven't really seen that since Russ has been gone.
Yeah, and there's a reason for that. 75% of Serge Ibaka's made field goals are assisted. Of that 75% of assisted field goals, Russell Westbrook assisted Ibaka on 50% of them. So that just goes to show you how much Russell really sparked Serge Ibaka's offensive contributions. He was really the glue, the engine behind it. And without Russell Westbrook, you don't have that pick and pop option. You don't have Serge rolling to the basket, off pick and rolls, things like that. So without Russell Westbrook, Serge Ibaka, I think, has been affected the most. And the Thunder has got to find a way to continue to get Serge Ibaka involved. But, you got to tell me. I feel like at some point it's up to Ibaka because he's athletic enough, he's big enough, strong enough, where he should be able to go get some rebounds and get some putbacks.
That's what I'm saying. And, kind of from the beginning of this season, when James Harden got traded, there was a big article, what was that, Ted, on Grantland?
Yep,
we talked about it, most important player in the NBA, Serge Ibaka. Early on in the season, after the first couple games, we were calling for this guy to be an all-star. And, now that you see him playing against other skilled big men, he's not quite there yet. And I just always feel like, I know he's still young, I know he's still learning, I know that he's progressed each and every year. Now he's got the big contract. Now he's getting compensated for the type of player he needs to be. And it's the playoffs, and you've lost your second best player. Your third best player, the guy who's getting paid that third most money, he needs to step up in these moments. And even if it's not scoring the basketball, it's got to be on the rebounds. It's got to be some way. He's got to have a bigger impact on these games in this series than I think we've gotten so much. Is he a young guy who's progressed? Sure. But I think you can squeeze a little bit more out of Serge Ibaka.
I agree, but guys, what did we just talk about? We talked about Reggie Jackson. He's the replacement for Westbrook, and his best thing is slashing, getting to the hole, and whenever the defense comes to him, he dumps it off to Ibaka. Ibaka gets the easy bucket. That's what Darnell just said. That's how Serge gets his baskets, is most of those assists come from Westbrook. This is just another reason. If you want to get Ibaka going, it's just another reason to turn Reggie Jackson loose.
Great point. I couldn't agree more. I mean, Reggie Jackson is so versatile. He's so athletic. He can make everyone else better, but they're sticking him in the corner. You guys mentioned it earlier. 8 shots last night. 3 of them were three-pointers. He missed all 3. Well, there's a reason for that. He's not a three-point shooter. Put the ball back in his hands, take some pressure off of Kevin Durant, and let Reggie Jackson facilitate some. I mean, it's real simple. I don't, we're not coaches, obviously. We don't get paid for these things. Obviously, Scott Brooks and those guys have done a great job, but I just think Reggie Jackson can alleviate so much pressure and help out everyone else. I just don't understand why he's not put in that position.
The best thing about that is you're using a guy's strength, Reggie Jackson, driving to the hole.
To help another guy.
That's his strength, is whenever he gets a dish to go up and dunk it, an easy putback. That's Ibaka. That's 2 guys' strength that work together. I mean, we can hope and wish and pray all we want, but Serge Ibaka, he's not going to grow an offensive game overnight. All of a sudden, he's not going to be able to go back to the basket and dump it down there for some easy looks. You've got to create looks for Ibaka.
No, but he can find a way to figure it out, rebounding the basketball at a better rate. I mean, they're going to need him to do that. There's no doubt. Out of time, I had some more stuff to get to. That thing just kind of went quickly. Appreciate it, Darnell. Great stuff, man.
All right, guys. Take care.
That's Thunder Cover brought to you by Farmers Insurance from NewsOK.com and the Oklahomans. Darnell Mayberry. Quick break, and we'll be right back. Final 2 segments on this Wednesday, May the 8th. Absolutely beautiful day outside. We're right here at Seth Wildey Ford in Pauls Valley, I-35 and exit 72. It's The Rush.